where I should have been afraid. It's amazing how much of an effect it has, and how much attention you don't pay. I felt I just had to find out anything else I could about it. I wanted to find the original version, didn't even know why. I do now, of course. But at the time, like I said, totally oblivious. But there was something in that moment that definitely signified things really starting. Shortly after that, Steam told me that someone named Gamma had added me as a friend. Curiosity got me, of course. I opened the chat to say hi, but without anything saying they were typing, they said hi first, and this person knew my name. I did feel a bit weirded out by that. I mean, it could have just been someone I already knew who found me on here. But I just played through that game, so I already had far-fetched ideas going through my head. I asked them how they knew me, and the response was a little strange at the least. At the most, it was just detached and insane. This person started going on about how I'd caught his attention and that they wanted to take me back to the beginning. I stopped soon after that, but I had the life scared out of me by laughter coming through my headphones. It was loud, made me smack them off of my head, and yeah, it was the same laughter I heard in the game. I checked to see if it was still up there. It was still up. Nothing was there, though. Then something came up in the chat and caught my eye again. The words, "Gamma is now deceased." Yep, you did just hear that from me. It might be that I haven't paid much attention, but I'm pretty sure Steam doesn't show that one. It gets better, though. It switched to "Gamma is now mine." A link came up and just said "the beginning." I didn't click on it, but my PC just started downloading the game anyways, and it wouldn't cancel. Kinda makes me wonder what the point of the link was if it just did that. Anyways, it was done in a few seconds, and got put on my desktop in even less time. And then, except for the chat window and a brand new desktop icon, nothing. I would have believed this was someone who's good with coding and able to play a not-so-funny joke on me, but after everything else, you know what I was thinking, and you're probably thinking it too. Well, we both got proven right, very quickly. The screen went dead, and I heard something like scratching. Then slice marks started etching themselves into the screen. No, not a vid or anything, I mean actual scratches. My monitor was being ripped up in front of me. The screen was getting twisted up where it was cut. It was buckling and curling outwards, and underneath was something that looked like living tissue. There were words appearing, but I also heard something over the sound of the screen being destroyed, and it was coming from my headphones. Like a genius, I grabbed them to listen in. It was like several screams at once, only they were really distorted, quiet at first, but getting clearly louder. As more of it appeared, it was like I was hearing stuff from somewhere really nasty. Heard the laughter again, a lot louder than before, pretty much deafening actually. Only this time, it didn't come from the PC. It was more like something behind me. And then, complete silence. When it stopped, the words were in all caps saying, "I'm listening." My brain had a hard time with all this at first. I dropped the headphones and checked outside the door, only to see nothing there. Not only that, but when I looked back at my monitor, nothing. No scratches, just a blank screen. Now this is what got me thinking about the whole control thing to begin with. And I still wouldn't know if it wasn't pointed out to me. I doubted my own sanity, but only for a few moments. After that, I didn't have any problem with going near the PC, even after what I'd just witnessed. There was no fear towards it, but no curiosity this time. Didn't seem important back then, of course, but I probably should mention it now. Anyways, the PC was still running and the monitor was just fine. First thing I did was check Steam. No one named Gamma or anyone saying I've ever met him, except for the new game I had. Everything looked normal again. I do remember it having a new icon though, just those eyes with the blood trickling down underneath. Quite a sharp resolution too. I kept thinking on and off that I just imagined all of it. No one else in the house was kicking my door off its hinges because of the noise, but believe me, it felt so real. In the end, I was still unsure, but then I stopped thinking about that, because a very strange feeling started creeping up on me. It was like I wanted to sleep, but not because I was tired. It was more a sense of just not wanting to be awake anymore. No kind of depression or anything, but it just didn't feel like me. I just fell asleep like it didn't happen. Shouldn't have. I was shown the events of the game again, and it was almost exactly the same. One thing was changed. The look. There was almost nothing cartoony about it. Everything looked so grim and real. Imagine someone putting all these characters in places through Photoshop or something, then making them just a bit off of a human's height. Seeing them from what perspective for the first time. You've seen them in games, but in the flesh, as it were. The eyes were almost as big, though, so you might have found it a bit creepy. Some probably wouldn't even care because it's Sonic, but I cared, and I wanted to stop it, but couldn't on account of being locked in a room. being made to watch through a window. I never did get shown what he did to those poor guys. I only heard the screams and then static. I should point out, though, they weren't the screams you get in the game. They were fitting for each character. What I did get after all of it, though, was the freak busting through the window after he was done, growling something about suffering being a part of who I am. Can't remember the exact words, although the words I do remember was him yelling at me to wake up. I did just that in one hell of a hurry. Didn't even get much sleep. As I was sitting on the edge of my bed, I could have sworn I was still dreaming when I saw what was on my monitor. But I wasn't, unfortunately. It looked like a video clip of the freak. But he looked as real as he was in the dream. His eyes were completely fixed on me. Also, seeing as you know who I'm talking about, let's go with a pet name like Freakazoid. I'll come up with something demeaning for him later. You don't really have a clue who or what he is, but you know what he looks like. And you may think you know what he does, but you don't. You really don't. It was a dark background, so I could barely see anything other than him. But I could just about make out something like a crimson sky. And there was some kind of shapes dancing and twisting around in the distance, like they were something that was alive. After a few seconds, I realized this wasn't a video clip, no loop. Freakazoid was actually staring at me with a toned-down smile on his face. That feeling hit me again, only this time it was more like needing to do just one more thing before you go to sleep. You know, like 5 more minutes on a game or one more vid to watch. I actually felt I needed to get to him, no trace of common sense at all. The desktop came up by itself, but the background was still the same thing, until he started looking at the game. The screen went a bit strange after that, giving a split second of red static here and there. The mouse cursor flew about all over the screen as well. It all stopped with the cursor being right next to the icon. My hand just went to the headphones, then the keyboard and mouse. I clicked on it, and it was just like before. Without the updated look, the music, scenery, murders, the words, the characters, and the way they got locked out when they died. There was just one small detail you might want to know about. My hands were stuck to the keyboard and mouse. No, I didn't mean I needed to keep my hands on them. I mean, I tried to remove them, and it was like everything was stuck to the desk, except that I was able to slide the mouse around. I played through the end, seeing the same ending. 3 rounds of static, followed by that laughing. Then there was another round of static. The picture stayed the same, but now it said, "What are you?" Yet another round of static, and right, okay. I don't know if this is even going to work, and don't ask me how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Audio undergoes a second of strange interference before cutting to approximately half a second of static. The transition is followed by what can be heard as wind blowing, as if the recording was made in an outside environment. This consistently remains